Hey, and welcome to the evolution line method. So it may sound a little bit weird, but you're going to understand exactly what I'm talking about in a smidge. All right, so the first thing I want you to do is to make sure you turn on your audio. I was going to do this on YouTube, but I don't want any technical issues, and I like this platform, so here we are. All right, so I'm going to put the next image up. If you're just joining, I'm sure you'll figure out that you need your audio on. So we're calling this the evolution line method. Like I said, you're in the free webinar, obviously. I do have two offers for you. There's a course and there's a workbook. We are not talking about those right now, but those are just to solidify the foundation of the evolution line method and organize everything that you've learned so that you can implement it. All right, so let's jump right into this. I do have I did put something together so that you can understand what I'm talking about. Now, the way that this works is that it can be a little bit confusing. All right, so I put together how it works, the elements, the formula, the plan. Okay, so let me just tell you what the evolution line method is. Obviously, as something really loud goes past, obviously I use factual based disputes. And what that means is that I'm using the actual information directly off the credit report to get my deletions. I'm not using templates. I'm not disputing online. I'm not saying pursuant to this. I'm not saying Congress says that. If the credit report doesn't say it, I don't say it. All right. So this builds right on top of that as an additional layer. Okay. What I mean is that there's the pyramid, right? So at the top of the pyramid, we have the most effective stuff. Okay. The biggest ammo, the cannons. We're not going in with squirt guns blazing. We're going in with our cannons. We're going in with, our army of like 1 million people. Okay. That's what this is. And we can look at it like the 80-20 rule. I'm sure you know what the 80-20 rule is. Well, when it comes to disputes, 20% of your dispute reasons are going to get 80% of your results. That is what the evolution line method is. All right. So let's actually go back and look at, let's start from the beginning. Here we go. Okay. So we reuse the most effective dispute reasons. As simple as that sounds, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about, okay? So this only occurs if the verified account information has changed, okay? So when we go and we look at the elements, there's 3 elements, okay? So we have our regular dispute rounds, date last active, date last paid, etc. Then we have our evolution line rounds where we use, rinse, and repeat. And then we have our violations, okay? And we do have a number one result killer, that you need to know. And then we have the loophole. So in the number one dispute killer, it's going to be to reuse without using new information. Okay, so the information must be new. Okay, so now the loophole is basically let's look at this opposite way. So the bureaus track all disputes. So if you cannot find new information on the credit report, you cannot reuse the reason, and you need to continue with the next best reason. And you're going to see what I'm talking about with the builder. I have a visual builder so that you can understand how to use this. Here's the formula. You have your regular round, like date last active with date last paid, and then regular round follow-up using the next best reason. So let's say that we start with date last active, we're going to go to date last paid. Then we have a violation round, right? Let's just say it's missing the required notice of dispute, right? So section 623 states that the bureaus and the creditors actually must put in like a disputed by consumer, or I'm sure you've seen it on your credit report, right? So the evolution line method round comes immediately following that. And you can even switch them out. You can have the evolution line method be first and then violation. But the evolution line method works where, let's say that on round one update, you notice that instead of a deletion, you're getting a correction, but they're still not even correcting to be correct. They actually go and they change the date last active to be, something still totally incorrect, but it only changed on one bureau. So now you have new information on one bureau. So on round 4, because as you can see, we have round 1 is regular, round 2 is regular, round 3 is violation, round 4 is evolution. On round 4, we're going to go back and reuse the date last active, but only on that one bureau where the information changed, okay? So this is why it works, because remember, 20% of your or 20% of your reasons are going to cause 80% of your results. So instead of moving outside of that very topmost part of the pyramid of the hierarchy, we're staying there and we're getting rid of all the rest of that extra crap. We don't need anything from the middle, and we don't need any of the fillers from the bottom, right? So if we look at the timeline, you're going to see that everything is still 30 days, but if, that this will be a replay. So, if you come back 4 years from now and you see, this timeline, it's going to say 30 days. But if you're here with me live, then obviously it's 45 days, because we're in the middle of a pandemic. The bureaus do not have 30 days, they have 45 days. So round 1, you're going to do regular, wait 30 days. You're going to do round 2, do it regular, wait 30 days. You're going to do round 3, you're going to do that one violation, wait 30 days, and then you're going to do an evolution line round. And then you're going to wait 30 days and you're going to do a round 5, okay? So if we go and, if we go and look at the no-no, so besides using templates, the number one thing that you don't want to do is reuse a dispute reason, right? That's like literally number one. I was trying to think of something else, but there is a credit repair suicide, which is basically stating not mine, but for the purposes of factual based disputes, this is the number one thing that you don't want to do. So if you first say not mine, you cannot then go and also say not mine 4 rounds from now. You can never say not mine again. But using the evolution line method, you can go back, reuse a dispute reason once you have new information, right? Because you're not using those same dates or those same numbers. So if the date was first 5/2015, and then, and that was incorrect, it was inaccurate, and then it changes to 6/20/20, then obviously that account has been re-aged, and you can go and you can reuse that same dispute reason for date last active, because it's following number 1, new information, number 2, inaccuracy, and number 3, now it's actually a violation. All right, so let's look real quick at the good and the bad. All right, so this gives you additional reasons to use if it's done right, and it will increase your actual results, right? But it takes an organized person to ensure that only new information gets disputed, okay? And then I did add in another one, which goes directly with what I've already said. We use the 80-20 rule, where 20% of your biggest ammo reasons will get 80% of the results. And unless we pull the credit report from the right place, we won't know what information has changed. And now let's just pause right there real quick. So 2 things. Number 1, if you're here right now, obviously it's live. I have turned off the chat on here. If you have questions, you can always post them. You can email them to me. I do have it listed as private chat, so you could send me a question and I will get the answer to you. I'm doing it this way because I don't want to have to stop and then answer it, and then we're going to be here for like 4 hours. I want to keep this moving. I have a lot of information to give you, and so that's why we're doing it this way. All right. Now, I welcome all feedback. So please, if you have any questions, if you want to let me know something, if it wasn't clear, just let me know, and I'll revisit anything that you need. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, I do have a workbook and a course. They're not done yet, so I will not be offering them to you at this time if you are live with me, but you will receive an email once they're completed, and you will be able to access it at that time and decide if that's something that you want. Okay. Okay, so let me continue with this. I just wanted to pause right there and let you know that. So we have the visual builder that I'm going to show you just to make sure that you understand how to use this with actual numbers. And then I have some credit reports that I can show you so that you know exactly what you're looking for, and then we're going to build a letter. Okay, so the ELM example, the evolution line method example, like I said, is round 1, date last active. Round 2 is your ELM. That's going to be the date last active. All right, and then this is just an example of a dispute planner, right? Obviously, you wouldn't be doing it by time, but by dates. I just didn't go in and fix that. So you start. What did you say on round 1? What was the reason that you used? Your response. What was the response you received? Did any information change? And then the rebuttal. What's the reason that you're going to use on the next round? Okay. So that is basically the end of this. So let me get out of this, and I'm going to go and get into something else. And because I have to log into a different screen, I'm going to actually pull this over on the side, log in, and then I'll drop it over here. So just give me a second while I pull this up. Okay, so we are logged in now, and let me just tell you, the reason that I created this, the reason that I'm showing you this is because there's so many people that are having issues with removing stuff, especially now, right? I mean, this is kind of a played out example, but I mean, 10,000, the bureaus received 10,000 letters per day per bureau prior to the pandemic. Now, I mean, just April alone, yeah, we're a couple months later, but I have the number specifically for April. 14.7 million people didn't pay their credit cards, 3 million people didn't pay their auto loans, and 1.6 million people didn't pay for their mortgages. So we have all these millions of people that are in default. We have millions of people that are without jobs. We have millions of people that are just like trying to figure out what to do next. And those are all people that are also going to be disputing. So if you are not setting apart your letters, if you're not telling the Bureau specifically what you need done and doing what needs to get done, you're not going to get results. So it's imperative right now that you get results, and you get results quickly, right? And this is a way that you can remove, literally, besides child support, literally any negative item faster than if you use templates, faster than if you dispute online, faster if you use identity theft if you're not a victim, faster if you do phone disputes, faster if you handwrite, faster than any of the other methods. And this includes regular factual based disputes, because with factual based disputes, remember, you are not reusing anything. So you're going date last active, date last paid, payment status details, notice of dispute, monthly payment on closed accounts, first date of delinquency, and then you circle back and you look for other violations, and then you challenge those violations, and et cetera, et cetera. Now, some of those are not your biggest ammo, right? So you're going into the part of the pyramid where it's just like, oh crap, now I used my best reasons, now I have to find filler stuff, blah, 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 right? So using the ELM method, you don't have to do any of that, and you are able to get, like I said, the fastest deletions possible just by staying within the 20% of the 20% of your reasons that are going to get 80% of your results. Okay. So, I do have a share link for this, but basically, this is the visual evolution line builder, just so that you can understand visually how this works and the difference between a regular round, evolution line round, and a violation, because there's three elements, like I said, right? Regular, ELM, and violation. So basically, what we're going to do is, let's just pull this back over here, and I'm in Miro, MIRO.com. It's either Miro or Miro. I don't know. I don't really care. All I know is that it's pretty cool, and I built it, and here we are. So thank you very much. All right. So let's go and do some awesome stuff with this. Now, this is something you might want to check out. It's if you have a team, if you do remote anything, you actually can go in here and do your video conferencing and collaboration on projects in here and all this other kind of stuff. And it's great for whiteboards like how I do and all of that. So if you want to check that out, be my guest. But otherwise, let's look at this. All right. So visual evolutionary builder. Now, we have our problems over here. So this is basically just the reason bank on the left. On the right, we have violations, and I'm just going to take these and I'm going to drop them. Oh, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to take these and I'm going to put them back. All right, I put them like this so that I knew exactly what I was going to talk about, but I already know exactly what I'm going to talk about. So oops, it came ungrouped. We don't want to do that, do we? All right, so let's regroup this. All right, guess we're going to leave that there because it doesn't want to cooperate. Let's put the date last paid back. We're going to put payment history back, and I will explain what these are just so that you know exactly what we are disputing. And I created this to be a if-then statement. So what that means is that if this happens, then that happens, okay? And we're going to build out 3 rounds. And as you can see, I have them so that, let me just put it like this so you can see. Okay, so we have violations, and those have 3 out of 4. Evolution line is 1 out of 4, and round is 2 out of 4. Now, this didn't save correctly because I actually had this where evolution line was the best, so it would have been 4. Round is 2, and violation is 3. All right, so I'm going to put this back up to, let's just leave it at 50%. All right, so with the Evo builder, we're going to start with date last active, as you can see up here. So it says if, then, if verified, no change. So what's the very first thing that you're disputing? We're starting with date last active. So if I start with date last active, then my next dispute reason is going to be date last paid, right? So round 1 is date last active, round 2 is date last paid, and if that comes back as verified with no change, then now I'm going to grab a violation and I'm going to put it down here. So notice of dispute. Now you can use any violation that you want. However, that's just the violation that I'm choosing for this, okay? So this does not want to cooperate with me, and let's align them. I don't want to align them. I just want them to move together. Why can't you just move together? Let's ungroup them, and then we're going to regroup them. Okay, so of course this happens when it's live, but you know what? It's okay. All right, so round 1, date last active. Round 2, date last paid. Round 3 is a violation, because remember, excuse me, violations are over on the right. Notice of dispute, which means that round 4, and we're going to drop it up here at the top, round 4 is going to be an evolution, which is this greeny color. All right, so we are going to circle back to date last active. So here is round 4. So round 4 is date last active, which means that if round 4 is date last active, then I'm going to need a regular round to go after that. So let's just say that it is first date of delinquency. So we're going to do first date of delinquency, and then let's say that it's the payment history. All right, so that means that my next one is going to be, let's assume that I'm disputing a charge off. All right, so we're going to do activity after the close date, which is a violation, which means that my next round can be an evolution. All right, so we're going to actually go and do date last paid. So as you can see, the evolution is actually following the hierarchy as well, right? So we're doing date last active, and then we have the evolution for date last active, right? And then we did date last paid. Now we have the evolution for date last paid. The reason that it's called the evolution line method is because as our disputes evolve and go down the line, the information is changing and we're reusing it in this method to get our results within that 20% of our most effective reasons. That is why it's called the evolution line method. Okay, so if our evolution reason was date last paid, then obviously we're going to use past due. And then let's pretend that we had another one. It would be, a specific date or something else, and then we'd have our next violation, which monthly payment, and then I would excuse me, then I would go and I would use first date of delinquency as my evolution line. All right, so I hope this makes sense now that you can actually physically see for yourself what I'm talking about with the evolution line. All right, so let's go and physically build something. I'm going to make my screen, I'm going to adjust this just a little bit so that I can pull up Word. All right, so this is a sample credit report. I did remove all of the confidential information from the credit report, and no, I didn't want to make it bigger. Why are you messing with me? All right, this thing wants to play hardball here. All right, so let's just move this stupid thing over. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I look for. And we're actually going to go and create basically a letter. All right, so let's say that we're starting from the beginning. This is the first letter for this client. And let's just wait for that siren to go past. Okay, guys, all right, so obviously on this letter we would have the client's name, right? We'd have the date for the letter, we'd have their date of birth, we'd have their social, we would have their address, we would have bureau information, we would have our opening paragraph right here, and then now we would have the accounts, right? So this is where we're working at right now, is the accounts. So let's go and let's find our negative information. Now the only thing is that I cannot see all 3 bureaus, and that's a problem. All right, I'm just gonna have to do it this way. Excuse me, because this is actually a really long image. So let's start here. So we have American credit acceptance, okay? So obviously there is a glaring 30-day and 60-day late payment. So that's what we're going to dispute on this. There's obviously no inaccuracy between the two of them. So if you know me, you know that I am actually going to play stupid on this and pretend that I wasn't late because, as you know, um, there's no way to verify late payments. Now, you may be someone that's saying, hey, no, that's not correct. What are you talking about? But yeah, no, there's no way to verify late payments without them giving up copies of their, meaning the bank's bank statements proving when that person actually paid. They're never going to do that. All right. So that is why we are able to do this. So we're going to say, and I'm not going to do all of the accounts. I'm not going to do all three of the credit reports. I'm only doing this so that you can see, because I did initially start. The main reason that I created this live was actually to show you exactly how I would start a round, right? How I would actually put the whole thing together, and then it evolved into this whole different thing. So I am including this part, all right? So here we go. All right, so we have American credit acceptance, and I'm only spelling it out because I know that that's exactly how it is, and we don't have an account number, so we're going to do that because, like I said, I did retract the excuse me, the account information and all that kind of stuff. So let's just say I paid on time for January 2020. So as you can see, I'm using the time machine to enter my dispute reasons, and I go and then I put in the facts. So if you don't know what that is, you can go find it in my videos. The time machine allows someone to save hours and hours and hours of their life per week. It's really awesome. All right. All right, here's an account that just needs to be removed. Now, some of you might argue that it might not be able to, or that you might not want to remove it because it's from 2016, but this is not their oldest account and it's charged off, and it has a balance of $25,000. So yes, we're going to remove it. All right. So as you can see, the payment history, there's a ton of 120-day late payments, and they're back to back to back to back to back. All right. So date less active is 7/16 and 9/2019. Obviously, those are different dates. That's where we're starting. Let's go and let's grab their name. This is USA Service, and we're going to do that. What was it, 2016? Excuse me. All right, so now I decided to use the date loss active because there's a difference of 2 years. However, you can very simply go and dispute the fact that there's 120 days, 120 days, 120 days, so on and so forth. All right, that's completely up to you and with where you want to start, but I go in guns blazing, and that's the best dispute reason that you have. Now, on this one, on Pentagon, we have 1/2019 and 1/2019. So I'm actually not going to start there for date last active. I'm going to start with the payment history. So like I said, we're not going to do all of these. I'm just doing this so that you can see the information that I would actually start with. And there's a ton to work with on every single account that you have. You want to pull your credit reports from Identity IQ. Now, when I send out my emails for the evolution line to my list, like I said, I do have a couple offers I'll be sending out for you, but I'm also going to send you the link to sign up for Identity IQ, which is the only place that I have my clients pull their credit reports. Like, if they cannot get it from Identity IQ, they cannot be part of the service. It's plain and simple. I require very, very, very specific information because I use factual based disputes. If I don't have the information, I cannot dispute it. All right. Very simple and easy to understand. So I wouldn't recommend anything else for you either. Obviously, and you can get a discount using my link. It's only $21.99 a month. On their website, it's $29.99. All right. So that's a savings of like $100 in a year. I mean, definitely adds up. All right. So I'm not going to explain any more to them. Obviously, they know. You just can't continue to report anything after the account has been closed. But then I can continue to say, you have charge off, charge off, charge off, charge off, charge off, blah, blah, blah. And it's not the creditor that does this. It's actually the bureaus, if you didn't know that. But now you know. As long as there's a balance, it'll report that, that there's charge off, charge off, charge off, or it might say that you're late, but the account's closed. Dude, there shouldn't be anything after that. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. All right, so let's check 2 2018, 3 2018. That's only off by a month. However, given the rest of the information, high balance is 2350 versus 3399. Still not the biggest ammo. All right, so on this one, I will have to go with date last active, 2 and 3 of 2018. I mean, it's all very simple. As you can see, we're presented with the information and then we just use it. I mean, there's not much to show, If we look at Santander, I would have to say that your biggest dispute reason is going to be the payment history. So on this one, I mean, you see that there's 7/31/2019, 7/1/2019, and 10/1/2018. Now, only one bureau is likely to be removed on that one. So if you want to get all three, then I would have to go after the oldest late payment, which is just with the information that we have, May 2018. Or you can go after the activity. So if you want to go after the activity, that is what you can do right here, starting with August 2019. Let's start there because that's a violation. All right, so we're actually going to stop there as far as writing the letters, but let me just go and explain how I would remove these accounts. And now if you ever grabbed the beginner's guide, you would have seen this in the video that I created, a 35-minute video explaining how the beginner's guide works. But this follows the same thing. For ERC, which is enhanced recovery for a sprint, I would VOD this. LVNV, I'd go after date less active. For the U.S. Department of Education, I would go after activity after the close date. As you can see, charge off, charge off, charge off. On this one, we have a lot to work with, but let's check out the other date. And you know what? We can do this now. I'd go after date last active. We have 10/2018 and 12/2017, and then I'd go date last paid. This one is actually missing it, and then I would do payment history. Yeah, definitely. And then now let me explain something. So when I say look for new information, it's exactly as I showed you. So let's say that round one, the date last active is 5/4/2017, but then on round three, the date last active changes to 10/1/17. That's a new and different date. It is different information, and therefore it can be redisputed using a dispute reason that I have previously used because of this new and relevant information. All right. This is definitely something that you would actually want to dispute using the date less active. We have 5/2017, 10/2017, and 2/2017. You could even go after date last paid, 1/17, 1/17, and 2/17. But your biggest ammo is actually going to be the date last active. Now, I hope you see why and understand why. All right, so this one is a debt buyer. It's LVNV. I would go after date last active, and then I'd go after the payment history. So 9/17 and 2/17, and then the payment history. They also have a past due of 9/13. There should be absolutely no late payments. It's a collection. By default, it's late. No shit, Sherlock. All right, TXU Energy. I'd go after date last active, 11/13 and 4/14. That's literally a difference of a year. Yeah. All right. So I'm not going to show you the other two credit reports because it's going to follow the same information that we've already gone over. But basically, all we want to do is, like I said, let's revisit this just real quick. And you can build one of these out at home. You can write it down. You can use any drag and drop. What is going on outside? You can use any drag and drop to figure this out yourself, but you just want to differentiate between a regular round, an evolution round, and violation. All right. So generally speaking, two regulars, a violation, and an evolution. Two regulars, a violation, and a revolution. Evolution. Okay. And we are only using the evolution line if the information has changed as the rounds progress and evolve. As the credit report evolves, the information should change, and you can use that information to use only the 20% of the dispute reasons that are going to get 80% of the deletions. You never, ever, ever have to leave that very, very top part of the hierarchy. I mean, it's pretty simple. let me go and show you what the hierarchy is, just so that you can understand what I'm talking about. Let's see if I can pull it up. All right, so now that this has finally come up, all right, this is the hierarchy. Now, I made this a long time ago, but it has a couple different scenarios of where you can start with your dispute reasons, right? I could show you the pyramid, but if you're part of this, then that means that you already know what factual based disputes are, and this is not a class on factual based disputes. It's an additional advanced opportunity that you can create for yourself on top of it. So you start with your blatant inaccuracies, and then you can jump to violations. And then you can dispute, date less active, notice of dispute, method of verification, and then tactics such as VOD, indirect dispute techniques, violation bingo, nervous Nelly, Joe the plumber, go to complaints, and then go to lawsuits. Or you can start with, balance past due, notice of dispute, method of verification, things that don't belong, missing information, violations, complaints, and last resort. But using the evolution line, we get rid of the complaints, we get rid of the last resort, we get rid of things that don't belong and missing information, and we're only dealing with, your blatant inaccuracies and the factual based disputes. And then you always want to start with the blatant inaccuracies, though. So number one is blatant inaccuracies. Number two, on this version, you can actually go balance or past due if you actually have inaccuracies there. And then three, violations. Four, things that don't belong, like monthly payments on closed accounts. And then five, missing information goes to violations, date less active, violation bingo, and lawsuits. And failure to correct or remove and method of verification, those all belong as part of violations. So as you can see, there's a couple of different things that you can use to basically play hardball with them, right? I mean, they're not being lenient with us, so we're not going to be lenient with them. That's what you have to keep in mind, all right? Now, I did create the course, like I said, but I'm not done with it. I will be dripping out the information, but I won't do that until I'm almost completely done with the course. And the course is on this. It's on the evolution line method, all right? Like I said, I also created a workbook, but I was going to have all this done for you today, but then WordPress took a huge crap on me today in the database. So, um, yeah, my cart fell apart and all this other kind of crap because of code and all this other stuff. So, I have to build it out in a different place, and so I actually created a course and put it all into one place for you. So once that's done, you will receive an email. You're going to receive an email from me anyways, but we are now at the end of this. You are not going to be redirected anywhere or anything like that. If you are on a replay, you will, but if you're here live with me, you are not. All right. Because, like I said, that stuff is not done. It'll be a back end offer, but I do hope that you are able to understand how this works, how you're able to get faster deletions, higher credit scores, and shorter total duration by using this while staying within 20% of your reasons that'll get 80% of your results. Now, if you have questions, please, like I said, reach out to me. You could do so by leaving there should be like a comment box or like a chat box or something. Just make sure to send that over to me, and, I will get back to you on the answer. All right. So I hope that you are able to take away from this something that you already didn't know, because, like, I made a big promise in the beginning that I'm going to teach you something that you didn't know. And I know that you did, because you already knew that you cannot reuse dispute reasons, and I showed you how you can. All right. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you enjoyed this. Yes, it moved a little bit slow, but that's what happens when you're live. All right. So thank you for being here with me. If you are part of a business and you need help with your files, reach out to me and I'll see if I can help you. If you are, just working on your own credit report and you don't want to do this anymore, as you can see, it's very convoluted and, difficult. That's okay. And that's what I'm here for. You can go to my website, expertcreditsweeps.com, go to the book online page, or you can just do /book online and schedule a call with me and I'll see if I can help you. All right. That's it, guys. Thanks for being here with me on the evolutionline method live webinar. And I will see you guys later. All right. So I'm going to end this now and